All right, welcome everybody. We have a special guest today here on the Coaches Networking Group. We have Melissa Ford. And to start, I want to tell a little story. I didn't tell Melissa I was going to share this, but I want to tell a little story about when I joined a group of Melissa's called Service and Creativity for the Prosperous Coach on Facebook. I don't know if you remember this, Melissa, but whenever I joined that group, I was kind of on a journey of I was a member of a bunch of different coaching groups, and I would post quotes and euphorism. I don't know what the word is. What's the word?
I don't either.
Aphorisms or something like aphorisms.
Something.
But I would post all these things in all these groups, and I remember you sent me a message and said, "Hey, we really excited about your post for other groups, but that isn't really a good fit here, and I'd love for you to do it in other groups." And you told me what you'd like me to do is post questions and respond to other people's questions and share actual experience. And I think that I continued to post in the group anyway. And then I got a message from this guy named Steve Chandler. And Steve said, I don't know if you remember this or not. and
This
Steve
is
said,
great.
and Steve sent me a message and he said, he shared something really nice. And he said basically that that wasn't a good fit for that group. And we really love you to post that somewhere else because Steve Chandler is also co he's part of that group as well. And I got the hint, and I just wanted to say to you, thank you so much. Thank you so much for serving me. Because if I had a group and somebody was doing that at that time, I might have just been like, get this guy out of here. But you didn't do that. You served me.
Yeah.
You served me, and you were able to care for me in a way that I didn't realize that you were doing at the time. But I did notice later that that was service to me. And I just wanted to say thank you so much. Thank you for serving me and allowing me to be part of that group because um, something came awaken me after that that I realized, oh, yeah, I was just really posting my own ideas in the group instead of being part of the group.
Mm.
And that's kind of the idea of what this group has been created around is for us to connect with each other honestly and share honest experience and then give reflections back and not to share some outside idea and just put it in there without really being part of the group. So I just want to say thank you.
You're welcome. I do not remember, but I want to acknowledge you for being able to receive what we said. And even if it took a couple of passes to get it, you took it in. And as a result, you have, your service yourself probably is upgraded. And your willingness then to invite me to your group shows tons of leadership on your part, Robert. So my pleasure to serve. It reminds me years ago, I had a coach do something similar for me. And I remember feeling offended. Unlike you, I felt offended by their service or their feedback to me. And I made some sort of sarcastic comment, and their comment to me was, anything that would serve you, Melissa. And it was said lovingly. It was said um, in a very direct and clear way. And it also woke me up. So um, I'm just like you, except I think I didn't handle it as gracefully.
Well, I just want to be honest. I think my comment to you was like, oh, well, then you can just remove me from the group. So I don't know that it was that. I don't know that. I don't know that it was that elevated. So just to let, and you didn't remove me from the group, which was amazing. So thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
And I
welcome.
appreciate your response. And I know what we're talking about today is a little bit about normalizing the journey to becoming a prosperous coach. And I'm curious how long you've been a coach and also your journey to becoming a prosperous coach. I'd love to hear a little bit about that. I think it would serve the people in the group, but whatever direction you feel your heart
Yeah,
wants to go.
thank you. I definitely want to talk about that, to tell you a little bit more about me, but I'm also curious about all of you. And I love the fact that this group is smaller because what we can do is we can treat the next 90 minutes as a conversation. So I'm going to share some things about me. Um, and then I want to open it up and you can ask questions. You can come in with some things that you've been testing out and you might want some coaching around. I'm happy to do that. And I want you to know any question, any coaching, it's all welcome. There isn't anything that um, uh, is wrong to ask. Go ahead and ask it, including how-to questions. How do I this and how do I that? I want those kinds of questions. It's important. But from my perspective, which will help me in terms of what I'm going to share, I'd like to know how many of you, I'm going to call it the service path. And what I mean by that is creating clients through service. So for me, that means offering somebody a conversation, hearing what's going on for them, connecting with them, and coaching them, and maybe even offering them a second conversation with the intention of if I can help in some way, then we can discuss continuing to work together in a paid professional capacity. So that's the framework I operate from. It's the Prosperous Coach framework. I don't know if you know about the book, but you may very well. It's Rich Litvin and Steve Chandler wrote The Prosperous Coach. If you don't have it, I'd highly recommend you read it. But from that standpoint, how many of you have been on your own service journey, say 2 years and under? How many people are relatively new to this? Gail, Joseph, yeah, Julie, Nitu, okay, Heno, all right. Okay, how about 4 years and under? Okay, Rolf and Tom, great. Okay, and notice I've asked you about your journey on the service path versus how long you've been coaching, because there's a big difference. And for me, I could have told you that I can tell you that I've been coaching for 30 years, but I did not know how to create clients at all. Yep, Julie, you can relate. And oh gosh, we could spend 90 minutes me telling you about my journey, and I would really prefer to tell you about some experiences I had, some of the thinking that I had, so that you can see whatever is occurring for you, whatever struggle or frustration or worry or concern or flat out fear is occurring for you. It has occurred for me and it had occurred for me. It continues to in various ways, and I'll explain about that. But when I first started, I had been coaching for a while, but I didn't know how to fill groups. I did not know how to create one-on-one clients. And from my perspective, the reason this was happening was because my business partner at the time hadn't gotten it together. I didn't have full support from my husband. I had all kinds of reasons about being a victim of those people out there as to why I couldn't have the kind of practice I wanted. And that really wasn't what was going on. It was a full-on protective measure on my part. So that's where I started. And I got to the place, it took me about 14 years. So if it's taken you a while to get to the starting line, don't despair. It took me about 14 years. And I finally hired a coach. And I hired a coach, and luckily I fell into the world of Steve Chandler. And it's the most random story. I'll save it for another time. But I got into his world. And I had no idea what he's referring to when he was talking about service. Had no idea. I just wanted some tips, some tricks, some easy 1, 2, 3, let's go, let's enroll these people. Because in my life, I felt like I was a really good coach. Came to find out, oh, that always is something you can continue to improve upon. But that's what I was looking for. So the thing that I noticed was that Steve would not necessarily give me answers to all my how-to questions. He would throw it back to me and he would say, well, what do you think would serve here? What do you think would help? What do you think this person could use that would benefit them? And that was the beginning of my journey of learning how to become a prosperous coach through service. And that lasted, the coaching that I did with him went on for 15 years. And I am not trying to paint a picture for you of, oh my gosh, guys, this is going to be a long slog. It wasn't. I had a lot to catch up with. I had to really change my relationship to learning. I was not somebody who loved to learn. I had a lot of ideas that I should know things, I should have it together, I should look impressive, people should feel that I am confident. So all this was going on that was blocking my learning, all of it. Julie, you're relating totally. Anybody else? Does this resonate with you? Like you're supposed to look a particular way? Yeah, right. We're all nodding our heads. And I that took me a while to really understand. I didn't need to put so much energy into that level of really self-protection because the degree to which I was self-protecting was the degree to which I really wasn't serving. So, for instance, Robert gave the lead in about me saying to him, hey, listen, posting in the way that you've been posting isn't what our group is all about. The Melissa 15, 18 years ago could not have done that because I had so much riding on Robert's approval, looking good, being comfortable. That would have been highly uncomfortable for me. So you can see this journey is an ongoing journey, and like any mastery journey, it's something that Rolf, you've said this to me. It's a mountain without a top. It's something we keep moving towards. And over time, what occurred for me was I started to like learning. That was the big one for me. I started to really love my learning process. So, in my book, I wrote this book called Living Service: The Journey of a Prosperous Coach. And in the book, yeah, thank you, Neetu. I was saying to Robert, I reread it recently and I was kind of blown away by it because it was written 7 years ago. And the things that I wrote still hold true for me today, but my internal experience felt a lot more chaotic. So, um, I wanted to just talk about the three stages of learning. My coach offered them up to me. It was at an event we were at, and it hit me really hard that I thought my learning, my not knowing, was actually an indication that I was in the remedial group, that somehow there was something wrong with me, that I wasn't getting this very simple, easy thing faster. I thought I should have been farther along. I was confused by people saying, well, now's not the right time. Let me talk to my partner. I'll get back to you. Wait until I get my bonus next week. I was confused by those sorts of objections. So there was a lot going on that in stage one of learning how to master service, you'll start out and it will feel chaotic. You'll feel, I will speak to myself. I felt like, what's going on? Why is this thing so hard? And eventually my mind started moving in the direction of, like I had said, what's wrong with me? Also, too, what's wrong with them? A lot of like, what's wrong with those people? Why don't they want this? I had that going on. And then also, um, I got into this place of, well, maybe service isn't really what it's all, hepped up to be. Maybe this really isn't the way. So that's the typical stage, the early stage of being on the path of learning service. And we really have to be at a place of loving your process, loving your learning process. It will be all over the place. Do not despair. You'll hear a lot of noise in your head. It doesn't have any value. Pursuing all the passive, what am I doing wrong? What am I missing? How come I can't get? None of that is going to help. You'll feel very drawn in by it. You'll want to use it as a bat to beat yourself over the head. You'll eventually learn that's not going to help. It just takes a couple of those hits over the head and you'll start waking up. The second, the thing that can happen when you get into this place of, oh, maybe service really isn't the thing, you'll be likely to take a detour. I took one, and it was called learning how to sell from the stage. So there's a lot of noise in this in our coaching space about not only being great coaches, but how do you get clients? And what will be sold to you is something that's quick, that's easy, that's going to get you to 100K. You're going to get your six powerful clients. And it's super attractive because if you're in stage one, like I was, you're going to want to get some relief from that experience. So you're going to look outside of yourself. And I did. And I went on a year-long journey of how to sell from the stage until I realized, whoa, that Steve Chandler guy, I think he had something that was really important. I think I underestimated him in this service concept. And so I went back. You will eventually hit stage two. And stage two is own your progress, which means really acknowledge yourself for the learning that you've done, for what you've created. You may still in stage two, which gets interesting. You'll start to create some clients and you'll have this really like swell of energy and you'll think, I'm crushing it. I've got this. And then you'll have a string of people telling you no. Your money coming into your checking account isn't coming in at the speed it had previously been. And this just this feeling of like, what is happening here? You've got to just hang in there with yourself, recognize what you've created, and now this is the opportunity to be in a group like this, to hire a one-on-one coach, to have peer coaches where you are going to hang in there with yourself and continue to notice the gaps in your enrollment. Get curious about it, run game film with your coach or a colleague, and start to recognize, oh, there's something else I could test out. And then you go and test it out. So that's what this whole journey is. It's about experimentation, it's about testing, it's really about your ego dissolving. And y'all get that like a deep breath, your ego dissolving, recognizing anything you are thinking that feels like it's pulling you down. I've thought it, Robert's thought it. I continue to have some of that thinking. Okay. Yeah. Okay. What is game film? I'll definitely share that with you, Julie. So, game film is where I've had some coaching and then with my coach, and I can see some of the gaps and I can see something that I might do differently. For instance, I might send an email, and instead of the email being a real social email, like a friend to a friend, it's going to have more of a professional feel to it. Doesn't mean I'm cold, it doesn't mean I'm distant, but I'm very clear about what I'm offering. So, it might look my social email might have looked like, hey, it was really great running into you. I just love what you're up to. I hope you and your husband had a wonderful holiday. Um, are your kids good? So on and on and on. Versus the professional one might be, it was really great running into you. And I heard you talking about how challenging it is for you in terms of your relationship with your daughter. And if it would be helpful, you and I can have some time where we look at what's going on for you and start to help you get some clarity and a way forward so you can create the relationship you want. Professional, warm, clear, direct. So I might see that in a coaching conversation, and I ran game film, and my coach helped me see it. And now, because real learning doesn't happen in conversations, like this is fun. You guys are going to learn things. When we're done, You want to take it out on the field and test it out. So real learning is roll up your sleeves, go do the thing that might be horrifying. Robert, stop posting those things. But you're going to do it in service to your own development, in service to your business, and in service to that prospective client or client. That's where the growth happens. It's exciting. It can be terrifying. It can be, really, I'm going to do this. But your willingness not to get enmeshed in the story that tells you no, and your curiosity to move beyond that, to see what's more real, what's more true, what is possible, that's the juice. That's it. That's the growth. That's your trajectory. And that was something I had to learn. So like I said, the first stage, it was, whoa, what's going on? This is crazy. The detour. The second stage was killing it one day and crushed and low the next. So the third stage is you've done enough of the roll up your sleeves. By the way, you're going to keep doing this your entire career because it'll start to be fun. It'll be a good addiction. It'll be your learning edge. It'll be exhilaration. It will be what else is possible here? Because as you evolve, your learning levels up, your expression in the world grows. So in that stage three, the thing that has shifted the most is that service is no longer conceptual. It's no longer, oh, I'm going to do this to get that. It is the it's been integrated in you. It now is a part of you, and you're never going to lose it. And it's really, for me, a place of clarity. It's a place of being direct and directive, and it's a place of deep loving. Loving of myself, loving of the person who's right across from me on the Zoom call or face to face. That's what it is. And I want you to know this has been a process. This wasn't just, oh, I hired a coach and 6 months later. No. And then I think not I think, what I've experienced is most coaches, myself included, believe it's going to be easier than it is. It's not that this is hard, it is simple, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily easy. It requires a commitment, it requires, um, yeah, a willingness to learn, and it requires a different relationship with the thinking that shows up in your mind and starting to see it has less and less value, that negative thinking. The story is about you. So that's a high level of what this looks like, this journey. You'll probably recognize yourself at certain stages. You may say, oh, listen, I'm in one, or I'm in two. I get it. I've had that experience. And your ability to stay on the path is what will move you along. And I cannot predict how long it will take, but I do know you hang in there with yourself, progress gets made. So, Robert, should we go for questions or how would you like to take this?
Yeah, let's open it up for questions. Who has a question for Melissa? And don't everybody raise your hand all at once.
That's right. And be willing to get the question wrong. Right. Hi, Nitu. Good to see you.
Hello, Melissa. Absolutely a pleasure seeing you and being with you again today. And I
Exactly.
am reading your book, and I feel like every page when I read, as if you have read me inside out, because it's so relatable. Every stage, every phase, and the moods and feelings and emotions are totally a phase that I'm going through. So I really am so happy and thankful to Robert for putting me in this group that is based on service, because this is the journey, or this is what I always intended to start my career with and approach this journey with. So, the question now, there is a little bit of conflict in myself. I really want to do it from path of service, and I post and to certain groups where people just ask that, okay, I'm looking for a coach, I'm in this kind of situation and I really need. And I did get a couple of people from those groups that I have offered sometimes 2 3 sessions, where like a conversation has started, and they have opened up to me and I have opened up to them. And to one I have sent the proposal but haven't heard back. It's been 3 4 days, so today probably I'm going to text and see where the things are. And second, the situation was so different with husband wife. I didn't knew how many sessions it'll say, so just right off the bat I offered 4 free sessions just to see how this is going to be a right match between us.
Mm.
So this is where I am. But the second thing, where it comes from referral and approaching your people that you know and sending them a message, this is where my internal struggle keeps coming and showing up, that I am not able to approach and open up. I reach out to them through LinkedIn message, I reach out to them through text and other things, but not much of response. And I know if I call, a conversation can lead to something more. But this is where this hesitation inside me keeps playing, and I'm not able to reach out, and I don't know how to resolve it.
Sure, sure. Well, that's I think everybody can relate for sure. When you say you reach out to people on LinkedIn and text, are these people that you have a relationship with?
Relationship means either have worked with them in the past, or they're a part of certain of my women group,
Okay.
or I happen to know them through my husband's work profile, but they're on my LinkedIn now because he was working for 10 15 years, and these are the people who I met multiple times or came to my home also. So those kind of groups. So there
Okay.
is a relationship, that it's not a totally cold one. So that's the where the relationship is.
Yeah, okay, good. Because sometimes what coaches will do is they'll reach out to people that they don't even know. And depending
Mhm.
upon, and nothing wrong with that, folks, but
Yeah.
depending upon um, what message is being sent will determine whether or not you're going to get any kind of response. So
Mhm.
when you're reaching out to, let's take one particular person, if you're open to this, um, and share with us if it was LinkedIn or text and what it said. What was the message that you sent?
Okay, so I'll just take one another example of my ex colleague, and him and me, we were like very close. He was like one of our managers, worked very closely, and he went through divorce while I was there, and I helped him. And I know, and then he got a little bit more alcoholic, but then I used to just tell him that time, you have to, Lucas, stop, just regain your control. He has relationship issues with his mother also. So I knew a lot about him. And now when I got into this coaching space, I reached out to him through text messages a couple of times, just saying, introducing myself, that I'm in this new journey, new career path. And if you know somebody who can be benefited out of it, I would love to have a little conversation with him. And then, of course, along these lines, there was a message on LinkedIn also, because we are connected on LinkedIn. So a couple of places I wanted to reach to him, and I just offhand sent just certain text. Hey, Lucas, how are you doing? It's been a while. Before, he used to always reach out. How's your life going? Or this
Yeah. Yeah.
colleague got a baby, or this colleague got another job, or he left or she left. But all of a sudden there's a little vacuum, a space
Yes.
where I think it's somewhere hitting him, where he feels that I'm targeting him or I'm just reaching out to him,
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
it's you know what? It's really great you see that because
Mhm.
um, the thing is that when people stop responding to me, I want to get curious about what is the energy I'm bringing. And if the energy
Mhm.
is that I'm trying to get something, more
Mhm.
than likely, people are not going to respond. Or if they do respond,
Yeah.
it'll be short and that's it. And even people
Mhm.
who I've been close to. So I
Mhm.
had somebody that I was really close to, and I said to her, what I'd like to do is I want to offer you the ability to invite 4 or 5 people into a group. And then what we
Mhm.
can do is we can do some leadership work. Would you like to do this? Now, this is a very good friend who I also had coached and I didn't get any response. I
Right.
thought it was really interesting. And later, when I said to her, hey, I just wanted to confirm, you received that offer, her response was, wow, that was really nice. Thank you. And I just didn't know who to ask. And I've got so much going on in my life, it just didn't become my priority. And that really woke me up because I realized that the way I approach referrals was I
Mhm.
stopped asking. Now, you might hear lots of coaches who will tell you, go ahead and ask. I've asked, people have been sent my way. My experience was that didn't work. And
Mhm.
it wasn't just that experience with this friend, but it was a couple
Right.
of other things. So, what I do now with somebody that I've worked with in the past that I'm close with, I will connect with them and say, I've been thinking about you. And I'm wondering how things are going with, your life and what's cleared up for you. If you'd like to have a conversation, I want to offer one to you, and it's 60 minutes fully devoted to you. Tell me if
Mhm.
you'd like that. Now, I'm not doing this to get something from him.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm doing this because I want to rebuild the connection. Even though somebody I had some closeness with in the past doesn't mean we're close. So,
Yeah.
for instance, um, there was somebody that I used to coach, and I hadn't coached with this person in a while. I'm going to reconnect with a conversation. And it's because I don't know what's going on with him or
Mhm.
her. I
Mhm.
don't know. So I want to keep that as the thing that I'm up to. It doesn't mean I have to stay in endless conversations with somebody, but we need to get together again. So,
Mhm.
as a possibility for you, I think you're onto something here, which is seeing, well, listen, I'm asking for referrals and I'm doing it in a warm and lovely way, but it's crickets, nothing's happening.
Mhm.
So for referrals, there's two things that I do. Sometimes I'm listening to a client or even somebody that I'm having a conversation with, and I want to make a conversation like we're just connecting. And I want to really pay attention. What space am I in? Am I trying to get? And if I'm trying to get, that person's going to
Yeah.
feel it. So I want to take a deep breath, throw that to the side, and I want to get back in that person's world. And they might talk about a colleague that's been really challenged. And I might say, well, if it would be helpful, you can always gift them a session from you to them with me.
Mhm.
And I'm
Mhm.
like, my hands are off of it though.
Mhm.
Right? So that's one thing. And then the other
Right.
thing that makes for great referrals is get great as a coach. Get exceptional as a coach. Not so you'll
Mhm.
win referrals, but so you enjoy your craft. The difference is getting made. People really people really feel served.
Yeah.
When that happens, those people will refer somebody. I have recently enrolled somebody who is the fourth referral out from a past client. That first referral, the person never hired me. They referred somebody that was an 18-month process of enrollment of that person. I'm not saying hang in there for 18
Mhm.
months, but this was
Yeah.
something I
Yeah.
was
But
curious
mm,
about this person.
right.
And then that resulted in another person I just was referred to, that enrollment took 4 months. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I just want you to see this is the long game, but this doesn't
Yeah.
mean that you can't create clients now and get paid and continue to learn as you're coaching, as you're being paid. So that's a long answer, but I hope it's helpful. When we've got getting energy, the vibe goes everywhere.
So, yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank,
Appreciate it.
yeah, thank you for your question. It was great.
Who else has a question?
Yeah, Julie.
Julie.
Um, my question is, how do I can you give us ideas on how to get new clients? Because I I moved like 4 years ago. I moved in a little town, and there's not a lot of activities here, and I'm just online. So do you have ideas or just to make connections and create opportunities to have conversations with people
Yeah, yeah,
online?
yeah. People online or people face to face or both? What are
Uh,
you looking for?
yeah, online, and also, okay, maybe I have another question is, I know I know people who know a lot of people, and I know that they could refer me. Okay, I have my answer. I think that if I coach them, they can refer me after that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, I know people who know people. I mean, we all do. And maybe they know a lot of people. And so this is really interesting because I want everybody to know you're going to hear me contradict myself a lot. And that's not because I'm not aware of what I previously said, but there isn't one answer for everything.
Mm.
It depends on the context. It depends on the relationship. It depends on, so for instance, this person that I was referring to, who's a very good friend, who's experienced my coaching, who's paid me for my coaching. Um, I could sit down with her and I could say, you've experienced my coaching, you know what has been created. And I'm looking for a few more people to coach who are like you, people who are coachable, people who have something that they want to create, people who might have a problem that they want to solve. And I thought of you as a possible individual who knows somebody who might be perfect for a conversation. Not, oh, who want to hire me, who've got the money to pay
Mm.
me, who want coaching. By the way, people, nobody wants coaching.
Yeah.
Nobody wants coaching. What they want is they want something to be different in their life. They want to feel differently. They want to have a different relationship. They want to do something that maybe they've held off for years doing. So that's what you're focusing on. I used to focus on who wants coaching. Coaching, we need people who want coaching. And somebody was very kind to directly tell me they don't want it. They don't want it. So you could, with somebody like that, who's maybe experienced you before, you could say, I want to give you the ability to gift a 90-minute session with me on anything that somebody wants to look closer at that could really benefit them. And you can gift it to somebody in your life that you know would benefit. And
Wow.
they're like, wow, that's pretty incredible. Say, yeah, because um, I know you care about the people in your world. I know you're aware of people who have who are open to change. And if that's something you're willing to do, I can share with you the best way to connect me. And they might say, oh, yeah, what is the best way? For me personally, I don't necessarily want to be connected via text. You could. I like to be connected via email with somebody. I like the feel of it. I like the spaciousness of it. It tends not to go social on me. But if it's texting, you could say you can connect us via text. And then what I'll do is um, I'll set up a time and we'll coach and we may even have a second call. And I want you to know I will not pitch this person. I'm not going
Mhm.
to pitch them. I'm going to serve them. I'm going to see what they might want. And if they bring it up and they want to talk about continuing, then I will talk to them about that. But otherwise, they're going to be loved and served, and that's what I've got. And that people then can relax because if someone, like if my friend thinks that she's going to connect me with somebody and then I'm going to go with a full-on pitch, she's not going to want to do that.
Mhm.
So that's a possibility. Julie, what are you hearing for you in this?
Yeah, it's a really good idea. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
possibility.
yeah. I'll reach out to people who already experienced my coaching and tell them exactly that, and yeah, and see, trust,
Yeah,
test it.
test it. Test it
Mhm.
out. The
Yeah.
other thing too is if you haven't spoken to somebody in a while and or they've never experienced your coaching, you could say to them, "Listen, I've been thinking about you, and would you like to connect? There's something I want to run by you."
Mhm.
Then you can connect with them. And you could say to them that you'd like to offer them a coaching session because you know they're dealing with X, Y, and Z. And you wanted that to give that to them. It's available to them and see what they say. Or if it's been a while since you've coached them, say, I'd like to offer you a conversation. I'd like to catch up and offer you some time. Would you like that? You can do that too.
Wow. Yeah. What I realize is that everyone that struggle with something or that that talk about a thing that is a problem for them is an opportunity to serve. And
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people like that around us.
there is. There is. One of the games I used to play, and now it's no longer a game, it's just naturally become how I operate. But I played the game of taking my professional self for a spin. And what I mean by that is my professional self is warmth, it's curiosity, of course, is outward focus. I'm listening for what people are saying. So I could go
Mm,
to the grocery store. I could go into the park. I could go to a yoga class. I could go anywhere. And instead of going unconscious, I'm engaged consciously that there's people out in the world that might benefit from a conversation. So I'm listening and it's seen through the lens of my professional coach self.
mm,
And it's not through the lens of, oh, I'm going to get this person and they're going to be my next client. It's through the lens of who might want a conversation. And I played that game for a really long time. And now when I go out in the world, that's just how I listen. Like I was having lunch with a friend and heard about a concern that her adult daughter has. And I said to her, if you want to offer her a conversation with me, go ahead. Let her know it's totally confidential. Let her know she has 90 minutes and connect us via email if in fact you want to do that.
wow. Yeah.
You do that too.
Yeah. And maybe I have another question.
Yes.
May I ask it?
Yes.
Um, I listened to the audio of Steve Chandler about personal self versus professional self. Um, do you have like questions we can ask ourselves to create our professional self.
Yeah, the one question that always helped me was, where is my focus?
Mm-hmm.
Am I focused on being liked, being approved of, being validated? Is there some need that I have, which is typically where my social self comes from?
Mm.
And I can feel it in my body. Like, oh, I want you to like me, so I'm going to turn on the humor. This kind of thing's going to happen. Now I'm in my social self. And the focus is on me. So when I notice that the focus is on me, that audio you're talking about, social versus professional self, I probably listened to that thing over 50 times
Yeah.
because I got really curious. He uses the metaphor of a light switch.
Yeah.
It's either on, you're in your professional self, or it's off, you're in your social self. It's either up and you're into serving, or it's down, you're into pleasing. So he creates these really
Mm-hmm.
cool distinctions where it's either or. So what I did was I would have coaching conversations and I would notice this intense focus on myself. Am I getting it right? Do they like me? Am I asking the right questions? Will they hire me? I mean, it was exhausting, but that's where I was at. And I would notice the focus was here. And the minute I noticed the focus, Julie, the light switch had flipped back up. I wasn't in it. I couldn't notice it if I was in it. If I was in it, I couldn't see it, but I was no longer in it. And so the focus naturally shifted and I just kept going. I didn't need to process anything. I didn't need to talk myself out of it in the moment or try to stop myself from being so self-absorbed. So what? We are. We
Mm-hmm.
are. And it's a practice to lose that
Yeah.
in a
So you
conversation, right? So that's what I would do. It's like, where's the focus? If it's here, you've noticed it,
flip the
and
switch.
phew, done. Yeah, nobody's
Okay.
right. So go do that. And then when in the small, lovely town that you moved into, like go find out who's out there. How fun is like
Yeah.
who are these people? Because they want to get to know you.
Yeah. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Yeah, this is
Mhm.
great. I love all the questions. Yeah, Tom.
Hi, Melissa.
Hi.
So, I've been dabbling with trying to be a coach for the last 4 years or so.
Yeah.
And I do have a specific niche. I am and Robert knows this, we've known each other for what, 5 years or so, Robert? Um, I was born with a congenital heart defect. So I
Okay.
had open heart surgery when I was a kid, and I've been living my life so far. So my niche is to serve those with congenital heart defects because we all end up with some type of open heart surgery or heart surgery in our lives. I'm in the process of writing a book to try to introduce myself as a life coach um, about CHD, which is congenital heart defect. So how would you go about when you've got a highly specific niche that you want to serve? um, Proceed. I'm liking the whole idea about the 90-minute conversation. So I didn't
Yeah.
think about it. Usually it's always been like a 15-minute conversation, which you don't get very deep into in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to get your feelings about what you think about that and
hmm
where to go from.
Yeah. Well, I think you're already seeing something, which is, wow, if I spend 60 minutes or 90 minutes, I can start to create a connection and a relationship, start to build some sort of rapport, hear what's going on for them.
Mhm.
Um, the 15-minute or the 30-minute discovery calls, for some coaches, that works because then they're filtering for the people that they're going to offer a longer conversation to. But for me, I needed a lot of time. I really did. And it was 90 minutes, interesting. And then I eventually got it to 60. And then over the last few years, it's now going up to 90 again. So this is what I want to show you. There's not a right way. You're just going
Sure.
to keep getting this sense. So test it out. But tell me, how do you now, what do you do to connect with people that fall into your niche? What are the things you're doing?
Um, Primarily just being open on LinkedIn.
Okay.
The one thing about congenital heart defect is the most prominent birth defect there is. Every 1 in 100 babies have a heart defect of some sort. Some are
Mm-hmm.
mild, some are more severe.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us have survived to 66, and some don't survive past 30,
Yeah.
and everything in between. So, but I'm also trying to start a travel business because I'm retired now. I'm on disability. So I'm trying to, it's like trying to weigh two different businesses at the same time. But
Mm-hmm.
most people know I just actually published a children's book about CHD. So I have that going out there. So that's how I'm reaching out, is to introduce myself to other people with my books.
Mm-hmm.
The main book I'm writing, which I'm about into chapter 11, is called Waiting for Repair. And that has to do with, it took 6 years before I had my heart repair in 1966.
Mm-hmm.
And my son has a heart defect. His is a little bit different than mine. And we purposely waited 6 years for him to get bigger and to eventually show symptoms because he was asymptomatic, whereas I was a
Mm-hmm.
blue baby when I was born.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so that's kind of where I'm going with all this. I figured the book would be a great introduction into, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm an experienced person, I'm an experienced patient and a parent of CHD.
Yeah. So, um, well, I cannot speak to creating two businesses at once.
Right.
But I do have the experience of when I was starting my coaching business, I was participating and supporting my husband a lot in his own business. He's an entrepreneur as well. And what I realized was that I had to have less time on him. I was still taking care of the financial end of things, paying the bills, making sure stuff was running, but I had less focus over there because otherwise my attention was just all over the place. There's this distinction
Yeah.
called focus versus spray. So I became very dedicated to what it was that I was creating. And like I said, I've always played games. So if I played the game, that I had to get in front of someone who had heart disease, a heart problem, what would I do? Like if I had to get in front of these people. And one of the things that I was taught is what we typically do as coaches is we tend to create this 10-foot pole. There's this distance between me and the person I want to help. And,
Mm.
and I'm trying to close that gap. And I can close it. Writing books are great. I mean, I have a book, uh, uh, posting, that kind of thing. But how quickly can I get into a conversation with somebody?
Right.
That's the game I'm playing. So for me, when I started coaching, I had moved into coaching parents. So
Mm.
what I did was I went to various PTOs or PTAs, the parent group inside of schools, and I introduced myself and I created two or three presentations that I would do like comfortably setting limits, and I can't even remember what they are anymore, but I would go in and then I would do a presentation. I did it for free. And in that presentation, I would give myself enough time at the end of it, and I would have 5 to 10 slots. And I would say to people, if you'd like to have a conversation with me, here's some dates and times. You could do it on Zoom as well. Here are some dates and times. And this is a conversation for you. Something you heard, a question you might still have, something that maybe concerns you, that's not about parenting, whatever it is, sign up if you think it would benefit you. And then that's how I was able to get into conversation with people. Because my end game, my highest revenue generating activity is a conversation
Mhm.
every single time. So when I think about you, I think about you going to your doctor and saying, this is what I'm up to. This is what I do. This is how I help people. I wanted to let you know. And if there's somebody that's struggling, that's a possibility. It's a possibility for you and me to talk more, and I can tell you how I help people. And it's not a pitch. You could go and do that. I'm sure there are groups. You could go and talk to groups.
Mhm.
Um, there might be people that you know who are currently in your life who are struggling with this. The first thought
Mhm.
I had was if you're very dedicated to that niche, when you talked about people who have heart problems, heart disease, my first thought was everybody.
Yeah.
There's their physical heart, and then there's just their heart, that how they live their life.
Mhm.
And so I thought, well, wow, you're the heart coach. You could coach anybody. So that's how I
Mhm.
saw it. I remember Steve Chandler said to me, Melissa, you're a life coach. So all you have to do is put a mirror under somebody's nose. And when they exhale and you see moisture on the mirror, they've got a life, you can coach them. One of his funny jokes. But
Right.
those are some ideas for you. The thing you want to keep in mind is I want to get really close as quick as I can, not in a creepy way, but in a
Right.
way that serves. Which,
Yeah.
right? How is it? How is any of this sounding for you?
It's very relevant. Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, good. And I know that you getting into conversations with people and having them be longer, it will also do your heart good.
Mm.
Because I can tell you've got a big heart. You're a guy who wants to help. So for you to have that kind of conversation, oh my gosh, you're going to love it. They're going to love it. You can invite them to another one. Yeah.
Right. I'm going to do that. I have one specific person contact on Facebook who's also she's a CHD and she's had trouble with a career as long as I can remember her posting on Facebook is
Yeah.
finding a job.
Yeah.
And and that's something I've had a lot to do with. I've been an entrepreneur and finding a job also at other times of my life. So there's a lot there I can coach.
Beautiful. Could just go offer her a conversation.
That's I'm going to do that.
Yeah. Give her, say, I want to give this to you. I see the struggle that you've had, and you tell me if it's something you want to do, and I'll send you two dates and times. And there's no hook here. It's fully for you.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I want to do. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Hennel, I think you've got a question.
I think Rolf was actually
Yeah,
before me.
Rolf had his
Okay, and
hand
then
up.
you. Okay. Rolf, hi. Always love talking to you. You've got your mute on,
You're on
Rolf?
mute, Rolf.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
I was trying to find an email. There's so many questions I could ask. It's hard to know where to start. But I'm gonna start with a person who I've known for a few years. We met at the rock climbing gym. He's a wonderful rock climber. He's an entrepreneur, an engineer. Um, he and I spent 2 weeks camping and climbing together out in the wilderness a couple of years ago. And we've just had this nice friendship. We started just sitting next to each other at the rock climbing gym, watching other people climb, and we just struck up a conversation, and we just connected. Long story short, he left his high-paying a consulting job last summer, and he spent the last 8 months or so figuring out what's next, start launching his own consulting company and rock climbing in Mexico and France and the US with his MD girlfriend. So he's living the life,
Yeah.
but he's not creating clients, and he sees the end of the money coming this summer. We met for coffee a couple of weeks ago, and he said straight up, I would love to work with you, but I don't think I can afford it.
Hmm.
And then he flew to Santiago to go to a concert with a friend, Santiago, Chile. So I sent him an email. You're going to laugh at this. I used AI to help me write the email. And then I offered a conversation. I said, I don't know how this would play out, and I know that you're concerned about the money, but I think that I could help you. Would you be open to having a coaching conversation? We'll do it for 90 minutes and we can focus on anything you like. I promise not to pitch you or anything like that. It'll be 100% for you. And then we'll see what makes sense from there. If you want to explore what working together might look like, we can do that. But I haven't heard back from him, which is highly unusual.
Hmm.
So my sense is there, my hunch is there's probably something in the tone of that email that just registered not feeling good to him.
Hmm.
That's why I was just when you called on me, I was looking for the email because I wanted to look at it with fresh eyes.
Nice.
My hunch is that using the AI took me out of my personal heart connection with him.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, this is such a great question because we're all in this AI world. And I want to say using AI is great. Use it as a tool. I mean, I use it. So I'll do a first pass on a email, and then I'll look at it, and there's maybe a couple of sentences that don't flow. This is just how I use it. And I'm not an expert on AI. I have an AI online course I have yet to tap into, folks. It's out there. But what I'll do is I'll take those two sentences and I'll put it into AI and I'll say, use my words. Don't change these words. Make it flow.
Hmm.
I'll do that because I want the Melissa energy to come through because we can all recognize an AI crafted email. We can. It's got a certain thing, it's got the M dashes, it's got all the stuff going on, and we can sense it. I can sense it. Can you guys sense it? Yeah, yeah,
I
okay.
guess so.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so that would be kind of fun to do, Rolf, is to create some of your own, throw them into AI, and then really look the AI at first blush is like, man, wow, this is powerful. This is exactly how I want to sound. It feels really good. It's clear and direct. And what I realize is, yeah, man, it's not me. So that's how I play with AI. I'm not saying don't play with AI, but you and I've talked about these incredible people that are in your network that love conversing with you. And I'm not surprised at all. The flying down to Chile to go to a concert. We've all seen that. I don't have the money. And then, the family tend to take
Right.
into Italy for 4 weeks for a
Right.
holiday. So when somebody's like, I don't think that I could hire you or, afford your fee. I'm always curious about that. You don't even know my fee. Why do you think you can afford it? Is my thought. And I want to say, well, you may not be able to afford it, but why would that stop us from having a conversation? So with your friend, you could just send another email or forward that and say very simply, I think you and I having a conversation could lift the fear or the anxiety you have over money running out in the summer around your consulting business. There is no reason that you cannot be highly successful. I want you to accept a 90-minute call from me. Are you open to it? And let's see what kind of magic we can create. You could even at the top say, will you please confirm you received this? And I want that confirmation because I think this is going to be really important. You can just do that. And then if there's a couple of sentences in there that are clunky or weird, you can throw them into AI. But clunky and weird, so what? At least I know it's coming from the person. What are your thoughts here?
Well, I'm loving it. I guess what's really settling for me is the power comes from telling the truth. And I think what I do, perhaps because I don't know, maybe I'm avoiding, I'm not trusting my own truth, or
Mm,
I'm not sure what it is. But I'm looking for a smooth, professional way to say it.
yeah,
And what gets lost is the juice.
yeah,
And when I hear what you just said, that just rang true for me. And I thought, yeah, that message didn't really tell Peter the truth of what I see and what I think is true for him. And
mhm,
um, it was kind of avoiding, like, for example, I was kind of avoiding the fact that he's concerned about running out of money because it might mean that he thinks he can't hire me. Whereas I think that is his big fear in the background. And
yeah,
I think I could really help him with that.
yeah,
And whether he hired me or not, having a creative conversation about that could potentially shift the way he's looking at it could be really valuable for him.
yeah. That's it. That's it. I think for you, Rolf, because I've known you for a bit, let's throw the professional out. And let's just go with you telling what you see as true. And if he never said, hey, I'm afraid of running out of money, you could say to him, we've talked about this, and I have a story. There's some fear you've got about running out of money. I could be wrong. But if it's there, or if it's something else, let's slow down and talk. Let's have a coaching conversation. Whether we work together or we don't is irrelevant at this point. Let's do this. Tell me if you'd like to accept that gift. There you go. Um, because the professional is useful if I find myself being needy and trying to get, but you're aware of when that energy shows up. You are a truth teller. You are somebody who will lovingly be direct. And that's what people want. Especially if you think about somebody who's such a high achiever like this guy, it's scary to even say to anybody, there's a possibility this may not work. Like I left this big job with this money and this title. I'm sure that's probably weighing on him. So send it out again. And you could even, I mean, I've done it. It's like, okay, correction. Here's what I really wanted to say. You,
Redo.
yeah, redo. You,
Yeah.
you, all of you can be that honest. You truly can. Like, redo, call yourself out. You're not throwing yourself under the bus. You're just being honest. Listen, this is a do-over. So go do
Well,
that. And
Love
if
that.
he remains quiet, text him. He's a
Yeah.
friend of yours. You know, you sat next to each other and you're struck up a cool conversation. You're out in the wilderness, you know, not at a Four Seasons. I don't know what you're thinking, Rolf, but right. Okay. Love that.
So you don't want to go camping with me?
No. Sorry, guys. But I love hearing the stories of camping. All right. It's great.
Thank you, Melissa.
Absolutely. So glad you're here.
Me
Okay.
too.
Hi. Hino, you're next.
Hanel, yeah, Hanel.
I'm sorry I'm screwing
That's
up
all
your
right.
name.
Don't worry. You won't be the last person to get it wrong in this world, so don't worry. Thank you, Melissa. Appreciate everything you've been given. Is liquid gold, solid gold, gassy gold? I don't know. It's just feels enlightening to be here.
Good.
Um, my question, I appreciate the things you've been talking about, the conversation, having conversations. Even I've been in that path, I don't put discovery call on the website. I put it, let's have a conversation. So I
Right.
really feel what you're saying is so true. Um, I've been on that coaching journey and I've gone through the ups and downs like I think everybody needs to go on, shall we say. There's no shortcuts, I've gone on master classes, earned 10 figures a month and this and that.
Yeah.
However, I've come from a hospitality background. I've coached and I've taught people. And for me, it's that service thing that is always been, I'm not there looking at the clock. It's time for me to go home or anything. And I think I've it's been playing on my mind, but it's that serving thing and helping others has always been the forefront and not the money, which I think why that these master classes have just felt so weird for me. I've never chased money. As I said, I've been in hospitality, so it's not a
Yeah.
multi-millionaire type of game. However, it's just coming more and more towards me. In the UK, we have this thing that you have a charity, you have a company, and what sits in between is called a community interest company, which you're there not to make money, but you're there as a company, so to speak.
Hmm.
And it just seems to be pulling me more and more to say that that is something I could do where I can coach in a larger scale, whether it's sort of 16 to 25-year-olds who need those life skills, or whether it's people in the 50 plus who, might have lost a job or lost things and they just need some sort of direction. So that's pulling me more to say, it's just there to serve, to help people. Is there any sort of advice or anything that you could suggest in gaining the people? Because here we can get things like grants from the government, or you can get companies that are able to sort of sponsor you. And because you come under, you call it a CIC, people see that, oh, he's not there to make money and lots of money. It's just there to serve people. So is
Yeah.
there anything in particular that you could give help or advice
Yeah.
on how to approach that?
Okay. So, would you be open to me not answering that question?
Sure.
Okay. Because I think there might be something that I might say that could help you see that because you've been in hospitality and it's all about service, that what if you were a part of the service equation? What if you served people, offered a conversation, and that conversation needed to serve you as well? So that by coaching, you were serving yourself first, you were serving your business, and you were serving that person in front of you. And it might feel a little strange. It's like, what do you mean? That's not service, that's greed, that's being self-centered. But when people have been in the service industry for a while, there's this disconnect between what I want, what I need, including being paid, including having the conversations be really fun, including um, having a viable business. So money and service go hand in hand. They go together. And they don't feel like it a lot because of service industries or charities or whatever. But I remember, I remember being really like I couldn't put that piece together. It didn't make any sense. And I specifically remember where I was at. My coach was coaching me, and I was saying, like, I don't get this. Like, I feel like if I'm serving, I'm going to forget I want to be paid. Like, and even asking to be paid doesn't make any sense. And I remember he said, at some point, it's going to click for you. It clicks for every coach that being paid is part of service. Because when you get paid, you create space on your calendar for people. You make sure you show up to those coaching sessions. There isn't any level of resentment that you're giving and giving and giving because there's this agreement that you're going to deliver your coaching at the highest possible level you can, and you'll get paid for it. And I started reflecting on my own experience with paying for coaching. And I realized, so I would do peer coaching. I was part of what's called Advanced Client Systems, which was this group that got together and they taught you how to create clients through service. It's now an online program and it's Steve Chandler's. And I noticed that when I would show up to the peer coaching, I wasn't as vulnerable. I wasn't as invested in getting something from that coaching. It was just kind of more friends coaching friends. But when I showed up to the coaching that I had paid for, I showed up very differently. I was prepared. I had been out in the field testing things out like a mad woman because I needed to bring back to my coach these things that I had done so I could figure out what worked and what didn't work. I was so conscious and engaged. I remember at one point too thinking, wow, I'm kind of exhausted from being so conscious. And over time it flipped. It changed for me in terms of my engagement. I don't want to go off on that tangent, but my engagement with the coaching was different because I had paid for it. And I noticed as a coach, like I'd said earlier, I was relating with that client differently because I was being paid. So I want to offer to you, you can take the path of creating a business where people think, oh, the guy isn't trying to make money. So, he's a good guy. He's not going to try to fleece me. Or you can also see the value of people paying and you getting paid actually elevates what gets created in those coaching calls. So tell me, because I can't read what's going on for you. And be honest. If you're like, yeah, I don't agree with that, I want to hear that. What's coming up for you with what I said?
I understand what you're saying. I think maybe I need to add a little bit more information. I did have a business, so I had my own restaurant, and obviously we were getting paid, both myself and my wife, but we were taking the minimum amount
Hmm.
required.
Hmm.
So we weren't there just taking all the profits of it. It was all keeping it in, making sure the staff got their money, obviously making sure that we were able to pay the bills. We weren't just a charity ourselves. But what I felt most that brought me was to make people happy and to get people served. And even when we were doing the charity work, that brought more happiness to
Mm.
to us. And the money itself, as that company, we're allowed to pay ourselves a salary, so it's not like I would be doing it free. So the money would be coming in from somewhere, which is like the government or funded, which would mean that I was getting paid for it. But it's more the serving the others. If I've always had that underdog feeling, people, when you see all these coaching, oh, you should be charging $5,000 for 3 months. And if people pay for it, then they take it more seriously. However, my thought process and my heart is that what about the people that are unable to, but the
Mhm.
money is coming from elsewhere? I can help them go from
Hmm.
this or go down to actually take a step up and actually move forward. So the money would come, but from elsewhere, but it will be
Got it.
helping people who would not be able to afford $5,000 for
Yeah.
that time period.
Yeah.
So I'd be servicing myself in the sense of I'd be getting the income coming in from various other places, but it would also be fulfilling my purpose of helping to serve people, and especially those that are not able to afford it and help elevate their lives.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
It sure does. And can you tell me what you're wanting to know from me is what? Well, how can I help?
What are there any sort of advice or tips on how to be able to, because it would be in a group coaching session as opposed to a one-on-one. So, it would be developing a program, an 8-week program for these people to help them on various aspects. Is there any sort of help or advice or guidance or any extra words of wisdom that you're able to offer that could help that process?
In terms of getting people in or in developing the
Yeah, I
program?
guess it's the buy-in in the sense of, these 16 to 25 and say, I don't need coaching. Why do I need coaching? I'm just beginning my life. I want to go out partying and things like that. Or those who are in the 50 plus who might have lost a job or something, they feel like they're in a downward trajectory because who's going to hire a 50 plus year old? Whereas I want to be able to, well, somebody is because of your experience and your knowledge and everything like that. So is there any way to direct the people towards that of how the beneficial coaching could be for them?
Mm.
Or have I complicated it even more?
No, no, no. So I do know that people who don't see coaching as something that they want or that would be valuable for them, that's a real hard sell. That's a real hard sell. If you've got a 25-year-old and they're not interested in, they want to go party, but they're not interested in some of their own development, that would be a pretty tough sell. So I would be looking for people who are wanting some kind of assistance. So whatever that group might be, if it's the 50 plus, maybe it's a 25-year-old who does, maybe it's not an age range, maybe it's somebody who's wanting to um, get employed. I don't know, but I would be looking for people who are open to their lives being different and really starting to see that it's going to require their level of responsibility and ownership for that to occur. So I'm starting with a mindset. Um, that would be what I'd be looking for. And it might require a few conversations and getting people into a group. Um, and it would require also what kind of commitment are they going to be willing to give? If they're not paying, how do they have skin in the game? What's going to um, motivate them to show up to the group? Because that's the other thing money does. It does motivate people. Listen, I put some money in there. Maybe it's not 5,000, maybe it's $50. I don't know. But something where they've got some skin in the game. Um, so those are my thoughts. One thing that I did because there were certain people I wanted to help and I wanted to figure out how to get into their worlds. There were a few charities in the town that I was previously living in. Um, we call them nonprofits here. And what I did was I got to know the executive directors of these nonprofits, and I would offer to the executive director 6 coaching sessions with me, and it was donated to their organization. So the organization didn't pay, they had to recognize the donation, but I was able to coach the executive director and support, typically it was a woman, but support her and coach her. So that was a way that I served without being paid directly. And it was a way that I could make an impact in organizations that were really giving to our communities, mental health organizations and like YMCA's and different things. So I did do something like that, and money didn't pass hands.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right. Well, it looks like we are here at the end, right, Robert?
Yeah, we're at the end. We have a couple minutes, and there are a few things that I want to invite people to as a possibility. And I want to say thank you so much, Melissa. You have served me in so many ways, and you continue to, and I'm very, very grateful for you coming here to share your experience, your strength, and everything. And the people that have questions, I'm curious. I know tomorrow in the Facebook group you have a session tomorrow, and I'm curious if the possibility of people that have questions today, if that would be a good place for them to bring their questions tomorrow.
It's a great place. Yes.
So tomorrow at 12 o'clock Eastern, Melissa
Mhm.
has a group on Facebook called Service and Creativity for the Prosperous Coach. If you reach out to me, I'll connect you with a group. You can come tomorrow, and ask your questions there. Melissa will be there, running that group and, answering questions. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is there was an audio that was, mentioned here, which is, professional self versus, social self.
Mhm.
If you think that, audio would benefit you, if you reach out to me, we can see about getting that audio to you. And the other thing is, I want to gift two people here. If I have not gifted you a book yet, I would like to gift you one of Melissa's books. Um, Melissa's book is Living Service, The Journey of the Prosperous Coach. So if anybody here has not read that book or I have not gifted you a book, please reach out to me and I will gift you that and I'll get that sent to you right away. So those are the few little
Yeah.
things I wanted to share. Thank you again, Melissa. This has been a joy and a pleasure. Thank you for sharing your heart and your energy with us and your time.
Yeah, you're welcome. And everybody, thanks for your questions and your attention. It's always such a delight for me to be with coaches who are walking this path. So hang in there with yourself, keep going, and go test things out. All right. Hope to see you tomorrow. Take care.
Yep. See ya.
Thank you,
Bye.
Melissa.
Thank you. Bye bye.